A dog finds a puppy in the trash and takes him to the vet. The veterinarian was horrified when... Before we begin, please subscribe to our channel. Your subscription means everything to us and is the only way to share these heartwarming stories of beautiful animals, often left unheard, with more people. It helps us continue our mission. So please, subscribe now. In a quiet neighborhood, the sun rose gently, casting a golden hue over the streets. Buddy, a beloved golden retriever with eyes full of kindness, trotted through familiar paths, greeted by friendly faces. But today felt different. An unusual scent pulled him into a dark alleyway. There, amidst the discarded refuse, a pitiful whimper caught his attention. A tiny puppy, barely a few weeks old, lay curled up in a heap of trash. His frail body trembled, and Buddy's heart sank as memories of his own abandonment flooded back. This little creature was not just a stray. He was a symbol of suffering, and Buddy felt an overwhelming urge to help. With careful determination, he picked up the injured puppy in his mouth, cradling him gently despite the stench of despair surrounding them. As they made their way to the nearest veterinary clinic, every step felt like a race against time. Buddy's instincts kicked in. He was not just a dog, but a protector, a guardian searching for hope. The bell above the clinic door jingled, but the notion of safety seemed distant. Dr. Lara, the compassionate veterinarian known for her fierce dedication, looked up in shock at the sight before her. The puppy's condition was alarming. He was dehydrated, malnourished, and his small body bore the marks of cruelty. Dr. Lara's heart shattered as she gently examined the puppy, discovering broken legs and a spirit that had been battered. The urgency in the room was palpable as the medical team sprang into action, but the emotional weight of the moment was heavy. Buddy stood by, watching with soulful eyes, knowing that this was more than just a rescue. It was the beginning of a bond that would transcend pain and fear, a journey toward healing that neither he nor the puppy could have anticipated. As the hours passed, the veterinary clinic buzzed with a mix of urgency and despair. Buddy lay near the entrance, watching the frantic movements of the staff as they tended to the fragile puppy. Each whimper and whine from the small creature pierced through Buddy's heart, filling him with a sense of protectiveness that burned brighter with every passing moment. The clinic's atmosphere was thick with tension. Dr. Lara's voice rose above the chaos, her tone firm yet laced with compassion. "We need to stabilize him now. Get the IV fluids ready." Her hands worked deftly, but her eyes betrayed a deep sorrow, a reflection of the countless animals she had treated, each with their own story of hardship. Outside, the world continued as usual, oblivious to the silent struggle unfolding within. Shopkeepers across the street exchanged glances, their curiosity piqued by the commotion. "What's going on in there?" wondered Mr. Thompson, the elderly owner of the corner store. "I've never seen Dr. Lara so worked up." "I don't know." "But it can't be good," replied Mrs. Jenkins, a kind-hearted woman known for her stray cat rescue efforts. "I heard a dog brought in a puppy. Look at Buddy, though. He seems worried." Buddy, despite his own fears, remained steadfast. He could feel the warmth of the sun on his back, a stark contrast to the cold reality of the puppy's plight. Children walked by, pausing at the clinic's window, eyes wide with intrigue. "What's it waiting for?" they whispered, pointing at Buddy. They didn't understand the bond that had already begun to form between the two. Amidst the chaos, a young girl named Lily, no older than 8, approached the clinic. Her heart was tender, and her spirit was drawn to animals in need. "Mommy, look at that dog. He's so sad. Can we help him?" she pleaded, her voice trembling with empathy. Her mother knelt beside her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Maybe we can bring him some treats later. Dogs like Buddy deserve all the love we can give," she replied. though they both felt the weight of the situation. Inside, Buddy watched as Dr. Lara's team worked tirelessly. The puppy was now on a table, surrounded by medical equipment that seemed foreign to him. Buddy's instincts kicked in again. He knew the little one needed comfort, reassurance that he wasn't alone in this world. As the minutes turned into hours, a sense of urgency loomed larger. The clinic's door swung open, and a tall, broad-shouldered man walked in. It was Officer Ramirez, the local animal control officer. His brow was furrowed with concern as he approached Dr. Lara. "I heard about the puppy," he said, his voice low and serious. "We need to find out who did this to him." Dr. Lara nodded, her eyes still focused on the puppy. "It's horrific. I suspect he was intentionally harmed. We'll need to file a report as soon as he's stable." Buddy's ears perked up at the mention of harm. He didn't understand the complexities of human conflict, but he understood pain. Suddenly, a memory flickered in his mind, the echoes of his own past, the fear of abandonment, the longing for love. It was a feeling he had fought against for years, and now he felt a fierce determination to protect this innocent soul. In that moment, a low growl rumbled from his throat, startling the staff. "Buddy, it's okay," Dr. Lara soothed, looking at him with understanding. "You're doing your best." The weight of his loyalty pressed down on Buddy. He wanted to tell the puppy that this world was filled with kindness, that he was not alone. He carefully approached the table, placing his head gently beside the tiny creature. The puppy, though trembling, felt the warmth radiating from Buddy's body. There was an unspoken promise in that gesture, a promise of safety, hope, and unconditional love. As the night wore on, the clinic grew quiet. "Doctor." Lara had finally managed to stabilize the puppy, but the battle was far from over. The emotional toll weighed heavily on her. "We'll get through this, little one," she whispered, stroking the puppy's head. "You're stronger than you know." Outside, the neighborhood had begun to settle into a peaceful slumber. But within the clinic, a storm of emotions swirled. Some thought the puppy was searching for his lost family. Others speculated that he was protecting something hidden within. But what could it be? The mystery hung in the air, thick as the tension that enveloped them all. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. Your thoughts matter, and they inspire us to keep sharing these heartfelt tales. As the dawn broke, casting a soft light through the clinic's windows, Buddy remained vigilant, a silent guardian. The puppy stirred, eyes fluttering open for the first time. They locked onto Buddy's gaze, and in that moment, something shifted. The fear that had once consumed him began to fade, replaced by an unfamiliar sense of safety. Buddy wagged his tail gently, as if to say, "You're home now." And for the first time, the puppy's lips curled into a weak but hopeful smile, a sign that he was ready to begin his journey toward healing. The bond between the two was blossoming, a testament to the resilience of the spirit amid despair. They were no longer just a dog and a puppy. They were companions, united by their shared experiences of heartbreak and hope. As they faced the challenges ahead, they would discover the power of friendship and the extraordinary healing that comes from love. As dawn broke, Buddy remained a vigilant guardian at the veterinary clinic. The little puppy stirred, his eyes fluttering open for the first time. They locked onto Buddy's gaze, and in that moment, something shifted. The fear that had once consumed him began to fade, replaced by an unfamiliar sense of safety. Buddy wagged his tail gently, as if to say, "You're home now." For the first time, the puppy's lips curled into a weak but hopeful smile. a sign that he was ready to begin his journey toward healing. The bond between the two was blossoming, a testament to resilience amid despair. They were no longer just a dog and a puppy. They were companions, united by their shared experiences of heartbreak and hope. As the hours went by, the puppy slowly regained his strength, thanks to the medical team's tireless efforts. Dr. Lara and her staff worked diligently, ensuring the little one received all the love and care he needed. Each gentle touch and soothing voice wrapped the puppy in a cocoon of comfort, allowing him to feel safe for the first time in what felt like an eternity. But just as hope began to blossom, the atmosphere shifted. The door swung open, and Officer Ramirez returned, his expression grave. "Dr. Lara, we've got a lead," he announced, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "I need to speak with you about the puppy's injuries." Buddy's ears perked up as he sensed the tension. The atmosphere grew thick with anticipation, and the puppy's eyes widened. What could this mean? Had someone been caught? The staff gathered around as Dr. Lara nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "What have you found?" she asked, her voice a blend of concern and curiosity. Officer Ramirez took a deep breath, his brow furrowing. Witnesses reported seeing a man lurking around the alley where Buddy found the puppy. They described him as someone who frequently mistreats animals. We believe he might be connected to this case. A surge of anger coursed through Buddy's veins. He had sensed the cruelty that had befallen the puppy, but now it had a face. The puppy, still fragile, seemed to sense this change too. His small body tensed, and he looked up at Buddy, searching for reassurance. "We need to confront him," Dr. Lara said, determination fueling her words. "This can't happen again. We have to protect the others who might be suffering." Officer Ramirez nodded, his resolve matching hers. "I'll gather a team. We'll need your medical report to press charges, and Buddy might be a key witness if he can identify the man." Buddy felt a wave of responsibility wash over him. He had already fought to save the puppy. Now, he would help protect others like him. But the thought of confronting the man who had caused so much pain sent a tremor through his body. He had faced his own fears before, but this was different. This was about standing up against the darkness that had haunted him and now threatened his new friend. In the following hours, as the puppy continued to heal, Buddy stayed close, offering comfort and strength. The bond between them deepened, becoming a source of courage. Together, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the clinic, Dr. Lara and Officer Ramirez prepared for the confrontation. They gathered their equipment and reviewed the plan, ensuring everything was in place. Buddy felt a mix of anxiety and determination. He had to be strong for the puppy, who now looked to him for guidance. "Are you ready, Buddy?" Dr. Lara asked, kneeling down to meet his gaze. "This is important, and we need your help." With a resolute bark, Buddy nodded, his heart pounding with a fierce loyalty that surged through him. He knew he was more than just a dog. He was a protector, and he would do everything in his power to help bring justice to the puppy and others who had suffered. As they approached the alley where the man had been seen, the air felt electric with anticipation. A chill ran down Buddy's spine, but he pressed forward, driven by the need to protect the innocent. The shadows seemed to stretch and twist, but he had no intention of turning back. Suddenly, they spotted a figure sitting on a nearby bench, his demeanor casual, but the air around him felt menacing. It was the man from the reports. Buddy's instincts kicked in, and he felt a low growl erupt from his throat. The puppy, sensing the shift in energy, instinctively pressed against Buddy's side, seeking comfort. "Stay close," Dr. Lara whispered, her voice steady despite the tension. "We're here to help." Officer Ramirez approached the man, his stance firm. "We need to talk to you about a puppy that was found abandoned. You've been reported in the area." The man's eyes narrowed, but he feigned ignorance. "What puppy? I don't know what you're talking about." But Buddy knew. He could feel the truth bubbling beneath the surface, the weight of the man's guilt. With every ounce of courage, Buddy stepped forward, his growl deepening. The man's bravado faltered as he locked eyes with the steadfast dog. At that moment, something unexpected happened. The puppy, emboldened by Buddy's presence, stepped forward too. Though still frail, he faced the man with a newfound strength. The sight of the small creature standing up to him forced the man to squirm uncomfortably. "Look at him," Dr. Lara exclaimed, her heart swelling with pride. "You think you can hide from the truth? This puppy deserves justice." With the realization that he was cornered, the man's facade began to crumble. He rose from the bench, attempting to assert dominance, but Buddy and the puppy stood firm, united against the threat. "Enough!" Officer Ramirez commanded, his voice slicing through the tension. "You're coming with us." The man's bravado shattered, replaced by desperation. "You can't do this!" he shouted, but the truth loomed larger than his protests. The bond between Buddy and the puppy had transformed the situation, revealing the strength of companionship in a world too often filled with cruelty. In that pivotal moment, the man's world began to unravel. The courage displayed by Buddy and the puppy ignited a fire within those who stood beside them, a testament to the power of standing up for what is right. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the scene, Buddy felt an overwhelming sense of triumph. He had faced his fears, uncovered the truth, and protected his newfound friend. Together, they had shifted the narrative, proving that love and loyalty could conquer even the darkest of circumstances. With the man in custody, hope began to bloom anew. The puppy looked up at Buddy, his eyes shining with gratitude. They had weathered the storm together, and now they could look forward to a future filled with love, healing, and the promise of brighter days ahead. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, the atmosphere in the veterinary clinic was charged with both hope and tension. Buddy remained close to the little puppy, whose fragile body was beginning to heal under the attentive care of Dr. Lara and her team. But the looming threat of the man who had caused the puppy's suffering weighed heavily on everyone's hearts. The tension was palpable as Dr. Lara and Officer Ramirez prepared to confront the man who had been lurking around the alley. Buddy could sense the urgency in their voices, the determination etched on their faces. He felt a protective instinct surge within him, a fierce loyalty that compelled him to stand tall beside the puppy, who now looked to him for strength. "Are we ready?" Dr. Lara asked, her voice steady but laced with concern. She knelt beside Buddy, meeting his gaze with a mixture of gratitude and determination. Buddy let out a low, reassuring bark, his heart pounding fiercely. He knew this was a pivotal moment, not just for the puppy, but for all the animals who had suffered at the hands of cruelty. They had to confront the darkness that threatened to overshadow their newfound bond. As they approached the alley once more, the shadows lengthened, and a chill crept into the air. The setting sun cast an eerie glow, illuminating the path ahead, but also the uncertainty that loomed over them. Officer Ramirez led the way, his brow furrowed with focus, while Dr. Lara kept a watchful eye on the surroundings, ready to spring into action if necessary. Buddy felt a surge of adrenaline as they neared the dimly lit area where the man had been reported. Each step felt heavy with purpose, and the puppy, now slightly stronger, trotted beside him, his small body emanating an unexpected bravery. They were no longer just a dog and a puppy. They were a united front against the cruelty that had threatened their lives. Suddenly, they spotted the man, sitting on a bench, his expression unreadable. He appeared relaxed, but Buddy could sense the tension beneath the surface. The puppy's body tensed beside him, and Buddy nudged him gently, offering silent encouragement. They would face this together. "Excuse me," Officer Ramirez called out, his voice firm. "We need to talk to you about the puppy that was found abandoned. We've received reports about your activities in this area." The man's demeanor shifted instantly. He glanced up, eyes narrowing, a flicker of indignation crossing his face. "I don't know what you're talking about," he replied, his tone defensive, but Buddy could smell the fear lurking behind his bravado. Dr. Lara stepped forward, her voice steady. "We know what you've done. This puppy deserves justice, and we're not going to let you hide behind lies." Buddy felt the tension escalate as the man stood, his posture shifting from relaxed to confrontational. "You think you can come here and accuse me? I've done nothing wrong," he shouted, but the quiver in his voice betrayed him. With a low growl, Buddy positioned himself protectively in front of the puppy, who looked up at him with wide, trusting eyes. "You're safe," Buddy seemed to whisper, and in that moment, the bond between them grew even stronger. Officer Ramirez took a step closer, his presence a shield of authority. "We have witnesses who saw you in the area," he said, his voice unwavering. "You need to come with us." The man's bravado crumbled. He looked from Officer Ramirez to Buddy, then to the puppy, who stood defiantly beside his protector. "I didn't hurt that pup," he shouted, desperation rising in his voice. "I just found him." But Buddy could sense the truth, the lies unraveling like threads from a fraying tapestry. He let out another growl, louder this time, as if to say, "We know what you've done. We're not afraid of you anymore." The puppy, still fragile but emboldened by Buddy's presence, took a step forward, mirroring his guardian's stance. Together, Buddy thought, feeling the strength of their bond resonating through his very being. With the situation escalating, Officer Ramirez moved forward, intent on detaining the man. "Enough of this," he declared, reaching for the man's arm. "It's time for you to face the consequences of your actions." In an unexpected twist, the man jerked away, attempting to flee down the alleyway, but Buddy was quicker. He dashed forward, positioning himself in front of the escape route, blocking the path. "Stop right there," Buddy barked, his voice strong and commanding. The puppy stood beside him, mirroring his protective stance, as if they were an impenetrable wall against the darkness. The man's eyes widened in disbelief. "You think a dog can stop me?" he sneered. But there was a tremor in his voice. Buddy could see the fear creeping in as he realized he was cornered. "Yes," Dr. Lara replied, her voice unwavering. "These dogs are not just animals. They are guardians, and they will protect what is right." In that moment, the atmosphere shifted. The man's bravado faded, replaced by a growing sense of dread. He was no longer the predator. He was the prey, ensnared by the very loyalty and love he had sought to dismantle. Buddy felt a rush of triumph. They had not only confronted the man, but had also exposed the truth hidden beneath layers of deceit. The bond between him and the puppy had transformed them into a formidable force, one that could stand against cruelty and injustice. As the sun set behind the buildings, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, a sense of hope began to replace the fear that had once consumed them. They would face whatever lay ahead together, a testament to the strength found in love and loyalty. In that moment, Buddy realized that their journey was far from over. They had uncovered the truth, but the battle for healing and justice had just begun. Together, they would continue to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves, becoming champions of hope in a world that desperately needed it. The puppy looked up at Buddy, his eyes shining with gratitude and determination, ready to embark on the next chapter of their incredible journey, one filled with healing, friendship, and the promise of brighter days ahead. As the tension in the alley thickened, Buddy stood resolute, a fierce protector beside the puppy who had endured so much. Officer Ramirez, with unwavering authority, confronted the man. But just as the atmosphere reached a boiling point, a startling revelation shattered the fragile tension. The man's eyes darted nervously, and with a sudden, unexpected movement, he pulled out a crumpled photograph from his pocket. "You think you know everything, don't you?" he spat, his voice shaking slightly. "This isn't what it seems." Dr. Lara, taken aback, squinted at the photograph as the man thrust it into Officer Ramirez's hands. It depicted a young girl, no older than 8, hugging the very puppy that lay trembling on the vet's table just before it had been abandoned. "That's my daughter, Emily," he stammered, his bravado faltering. "She was the one who found him. She begged me to take him home." Buddy's heart sank as the man's words hung heavily in the air. The puppy looked up at Buddy, confusion etched across his small face. "Is that true?" he seemed to ask, his innocent eyes searching for answers. Dr. Lara's brow furrowed with concern as she processed the implications. "What does this mean? Did your daughter hurt him?" she questioned, her voice steady, trying to hold on to the truth. The man shook his head vehemently, his voice rising in desperation. "No, Emily wouldn't hurt a fly. We found him in the alley, and I didn't know how badly he was hurt. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I thought I could fix it myself." Buddy felt a whirlwind of emotions. Was this man a monster or a misguided father? The puppy, still fragile, now seemed lost in a sea of confusion, caught between fear and a flicker of hope. "Scared?" Officer Ramirez challenged, his voice filled with disbelief. "Scared people don't abandon helpless animals. What you did was cruel." I know, the man's voice cracked, and his facade crumbled further. "But I was afraid I'd get in trouble. I didn't want to lose Emily. I thought if I just left him there, maybe someone would take care of him. I never meant for any of this to happen." The puppy, still trembling, looked up at Buddy, who felt the weight of this new information. The bond between them had been forged in pain, yet now they faced an unexpected dilemma. Buddy instinctively stepped closer to the puppy, wrapping his body around him, as if to shield him from the complexity of the situation. "Emily deserves to know what happened to her puppy," Dr. Lara said softly, her voice laced with compassion. "If you truly care for her, you need to take responsibility. She needs to understand that abandoning an animal is not an option. It's a lesson she must learn." The man's eyes glistened with unshed tears as realization washed over him. "You're right," he admitted, his voice breaking. "I thought I was protecting her, but I only made things worse. If I could take it back, I would. I just wanted to keep her safe." The atmosphere shifted once more, and the tension that had once filled the air now transformed into something more profound, an opportunity for understanding and healing. But how could they reconcile the pain caused by his actions with the innocence of a child who had unknowingly become entangled in this darkness? "Let's get Emily here," Officer Ramirez suggested, his tone softening. "We can't change what happened, but we can make sure she understands how to help animals in need. She should see the puppy, and maybe she can help him heal too." Buddy's heart raced at the thought of the little girl. Would she feel guilt? Would she blame the puppy for what had happened? Or could she be the one to bring a sense of closure and healing? The possibilities were overwhelming, yet Buddy felt a surge of hope. "We can help her understand compassion and responsibility," Dr. Lara added, her voice steady. It's never too late to teach empathy to a child. The man nodded, his expression shifting from despair to determination. I'll call her. I need her to know I'm sorry, and I want to make this right. As he fumbled with his phone, Buddy remained close to the puppy, who seemed to sense the change in atmosphere. The little one looked up at Buddy, his eyes searching for reassurance. Is it okay? The puppy seemed to ask. With a gentle nudge, Buddy responded, Yes, it will be okay. We'll face this together. Moments later, the man placed the call. Emily, honey, I need you to come to the vet. There's something important I need to tell you. As they waited, Buddy's heart raced with anticipation. What would happen when Emily arrived? Would she embrace the puppy, or would fear cloud her judgment? Finally, the door swung open, and a small figure appeared, her eyes wide with curiosity and concern. Emily rushed in, her gaze darting around the room until it landed on the puppy lying on the table, surrounded by medical equipment. Her expression shifted from confusion to shock. Why is he here? She cried, rushing toward the table. What happened to him? The man stepped forward, his voice trembling. I made a mistake, sweetheart. I was scared, but I want you to understand that what I did was wrong. This little guy needs our help. Buddy watched as the little girl's eyes filled with tears. Did you hurt him? She asked, her voice small but filled with an innocent clarity that cut through the tension. No, but I didn't help him when I should have, her father replied, his voice breaking. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. The puppy, sensing the turmoil, whimpered softly, his eyes locking onto Emily's gaze, searching for understanding. Before Buddy could process what happened next, Emily stepped forward, her small hands trembling. I'm sorry, little puppy, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. I didn't know. I just wanted to help you. In that moment, something miraculous happened. The puppy, sensing her sincerity, let out a soft whimper and leaned closer, bridging the gap between fear and forgiveness. Emily reached out, gently petting his head, her touch tentative yet filled with love. As the room filled with an overwhelming sense of emotion, Buddy felt a wave of relief wash over him. The prejudice he had held against the man began to dissolve as he witnessed the genuine remorse and longing for redemption. They were all part of a complicated tapestry of pain and healing, each trying to find their way back to a place of understanding. Together, we can help him heal, Dr. Lara said, her voice steady and filled with hope. It's a journey we will take as a family. The atmosphere shifted once more, transforming from tension to a shared commitment to healing. Buddy felt his heart swell as he watched the puppy and Emily connect, a moment of pure innocence that transcended the darkness surrounding them. As they stood together, a sense of newfound purpose filled the room. The bond between Buddy and the puppy had brought them to this pivotal moment, and now they would face the challenges ahead as a united front. They were no longer just a dog and a puppy. They were part of a greater story, a story of redemption, compassion, and the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. As the sun began to rise over the horizon, casting a warm glow into the clinic, Buddy felt a renewed sense of hope. Together, they would embark on this journey of healing, proving that even in the face of darkness, love could illuminate the path forward. The next chapter awaited them, filled with the promise of brighter days ahead. As the sun rose higher, casting a warm glow through the clinic's windows, the atmosphere was charged with a sense of hope. Emily, her small hands trembling but determined, sat beside the puppy, who was slowly beginning to trust again. Buddy watched the fragile creature respond to the gentle touch of the little girl, a bond forming that transcended the pain of the past. "Can I take him home?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper, filled with hope and sincerity. "I promise I'll take care of him." Dr. Lara exchanged glances with Officer Ramirez, her heart swelling with a mix of caution and compassion. "Emily, taking him home is a big responsibility. We need to make sure he's healthy and safe first." She knelt beside the girl, her voice softening. "But if you're willing to learn how to care for him, we can work on this together." Gazing at the puppy, Emily nodded eagerly, her eyes shimmering with determination. "I want to make it right. I'm sorry for what happened to you," she said, her voice filled with genuine remorse. The puppy, sensing her sincerity, curled closer to her, his small body trembling less with each passing moment. Buddy felt a surge of pride as he observed the budding connection between the two. This was the healing the puppy needed, not just from the physical wounds but from the emotional scars that had been inflicted upon him. Together, they could forge a new path, one filled with love and understanding. As the days turned into weeks, the clinic became a haven for healing. Emily, alongside her father, visited the puppy every day, learning how to care for him under Dr. Lara's guidance. The bond between them deepened, and the puppy began to trust again, slowly shedding the shadows of his past. Buddy remained a constant presence, teaching the little one how to navigate the world with courage and love. They played together in the clinic's backyard, where laughter replaced fear. The puppy's once trembling body transformed into a lively spirit, eager to explore the world around him. But the journey was not without its challenges. The man who had caused the puppy's suffering faced legal repercussions, and as he awaited trial, the community rallied together to advocate for animal rights. Buddy became a symbol of resilience, inspiring others to speak out against cruelty and ensure that no animal would suffer the same fate again. One sunny afternoon, as Buddy watched Emily and the puppy chase each other in the grassy yard, he felt a sense of fulfillment washing over him. The little creature he had rescued was no longer just a scared puppy. He was a vibrant, joyful soul, brimming with life. The healing had taken root, nurtured by love, compassion, and understanding. In a powerful moment, Emily knelt beside the puppy, wrapping her arms around him. "We're a family now," she said, her voice filled with warmth. "I'll always protect you." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Buddy felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He had not only saved a life, he had helped create a new family, one built on trust and resilience. It was a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there was always a chance for redemption. Weeks later, as the trial approached, the community gathered outside the courthouse, holding signs that declared their support for animal rights. Buddy stood proudly beside Emily and the puppy, a united front against the darkness that had once threatened them. The love they had for one another radiated, a beacon of hope that echoed through the crowd. "Together, we can make a difference," Emily proclaimed, her voice ringing clear. "No more hurting animals." The puppy barked in agreement, his spirit soaring alongside the impassioned chants of the crowd. Buddy's heart swelled with pride. They had turned pain into purpose, transforming their experiences into a force for good. As the trial unfolded, the man was held accountable for his actions, and the community's voice grew louder, demanding justice for all creatures who had suffered in silence. The courtroom echoed with testimonies of compassion, and for every heart that had been broken, there were countless stories of resilience, love, and healing. In the end, justice prevailed, but more importantly, a sense of community was born from the ashes of suffering. Buddy, Emily and the puppy emerged not just as survivors but as champions for change, dedicated to ensuring that no creature would endure the pain they had faced. As they walked home that day, the sun setting behind them, casting a warm glow over their path, Buddy felt a sense of peace enveloping him. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but they had emerged stronger, united by a bond that would never be broken. "Thank you for saving me," the puppy whispered, leaning against Buddy as they walked. "No," Buddy replied gently. "We saved each other." And in that moment, they understood that love, resilience, and hope could conquer even the darkest of days. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to subscribe for more incredible stories like this one. Together, they would continue to spread compassion, inspiring others to look beyond the surface and see the beauty of every life, a testament to the extraordinary power of love.